My name is Ernest Lamoth. I'm a reporter for the Southland Journal.
Good morning. I am Lisa Taylor. I am a Cook County judicial candidate for the countywide Brennan vacancy.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Can you talk a little bit about your overall career?
Certainly. The biggest thing and the most important thing for the voters is that I am a 20-plus year trial attorney. That means that I have seen the inside of a courtroom. I often appear in the courtroom. I have handled cases on the plaintiff side, meaning prosecuting civil matters for people. I have been on the defense side, which means defending civil matters for people and or entities, because I have a medical negligence background as well.
And can you talk a little about some of the reasons why you decided you definitely want to run for this office?
Absolutely. So a lot of people may not know there are two ways to become a judge in the state of Illinois. The judges who have been elected by the people, that's me, that's what I want, June 28, 2022, can be voted into office by the people, the citizens who are registered to vote. The other way to become a judge is it's called an associate judge position, and other judges, i.e. the full circuit judges, judges who are elected by the citizenry, vote for the associate judges. So I made that selection process in 2018, but was not chosen as a finalist. I applied again in 2019, and I also applied again last year. So once I was not chosen, I thought, I'm ready. I have been a trial lawyer for 20 plus years. I've done everything except for bankruptcy, divorce, and antitrust. So I think I should take my message to the citizens and allow them to vote me into office.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Can you talk a little about some of the platforms that you're passionate about when it comes to law?
Well, my biggest thing are the little people, also known as our children. So I have volunteered for a number of years. I'm not currently, but for a number of years when I was a partner at Big Law, that means a nationwide law firm. I volunteered for CASA, which is the Court Appointed Special Advocate Program. As a CASA volunteer, non-paid position, I was essentially what people may recognize as a guardian ad litem or an advocate for the children, where I went to visit them in their foster placements. I wrote reports to the court. So the little people are very important to me, and making sure that those children had the services that they required as wards of the state. The other thing, my little people again, I have done seminars regarding Know Your Rights. Excuse me. These seminars help our young people when they start to drive. It's very important. I'm sure people are watching the news. There was recently an incident in Michigan. And so teaching our young people how to interact with the police, pulling over, not being combative, not running from the scene. Even if there are some not so pleasant things that either may be in the vehicle or a history you may have, just understanding that a traffic stop should not result in a death of a young person or anyone for that matter. So my young people and my little people, if you will, but also I am a Christian, and I'm not ashamed to say that as a candidate for judge. And that's important because I volunteer for administered justice. People recognize and understand that when you have a criminal case, you get a lawyer. You're entitled to a lawyer by the Constitution. If you have a civil matter, you are not entitled to a lawyer. And so the administered justice program is a church-based program where I volunteer and provide civil legal services to people who need assistance, who may not otherwise be able to access the judicial system. So access and advocacy, very important in those things I've highlighted for you.
It makes my very obvious question, but I kind of just want to get your thoughts. You talk about the fact of advocacy being very important, and the fairness of obviously both sides having the ability to have a lawyer. Tell me a little bit of why that's important.
Well, it's very important because a lot of people feel like they don't have access to justice, or the access they have is not fair and equitable. And so, as a trial lawyer for over 20 years, I've been in the courtroom. I have litigated against pro se litigants. And remember, pro se for self. Anyone can go to court, but the fancy part about being a lawyer is you got to know the rules, you have to know the law. And so, the access that people do or do not have, especially in the civil arena, is very important. I volunteered and did a career fair, and the pastor who was organizing the fair said, why is it that judges, can do anything and be a judge? Well, I think that's the attractive component for me as a candidate, someone who has trial experience, understanding different areas of the law, being able to come in, knowing the procedure, knowing the law, following the law, treating litigants with respect. So even if the outcome is not what you want, you know that your case has been heard, you know that the judge has applied the law, you have been treated with respect in the courtroom as a litigant. So those are things that a lot of people do not feel they have when they have no access to the courts.
Is there anything else you'd like to add that maybe I didn't ask?
Lisa Taylor for judge, June 28, 2022. I'm running for the Brennan vacancy. I'm asking for the support as a 20+ year trial lawyer who's done everything except for bankruptcy, divorce, and antitrust work, been on both sides, state and federal court trials. So I thank the Southland Journal, you, and all of the staff there for their continued support in getting information out to the voters.
Well, thank you. I very much appreciate you taking some of your time as well.
Thanks so much, and please be well and safe.
Okay.